Hey everyone, late night change up. New, yet another news thing. Got the glasses on today. Been on a glasses kick lately. We're just gonna go with them in order. There's supposed to be some change ups to the exercise routine, but they did not get put onto the website so that I could put them onto my sheet. And there's no way I can't remember. I cannot remember all the little changes. They're not that big a deal. Although one thing when we were in today and I was doing this stretch, Audrey was like, "You can start doing this with your elbow straight." And I was like, "Oh," and I totally see in the notes, keep your elbow bent when doing this, and it legitimately it feels like a better stretch when I keep the elbow bent. Kind of funny, but that's just yeah. There it is. It's been there the whole time. I'd have to check the old sheet, but I think it's been there the whole time. The problem is that the diagram, the video and diagram, have it done this way. I think that doing it with the elbow bent was supposed to protect the incision and the repair. So yeah, I think I mentioned in the video the other day, Cray and I ended up chatting up Dag a little bit on his stream. Haven't really heard from him. Had been calling him out on here a little bit, saying like, we haven't heard from you. And in the end, he said, send me a text and I'll drop in the chat after you guys are done. Send me a text so I can drop in and we can chat, but I don't want to interrupt things. And it just doesn't work, man. The schedules don't line up. It's funny because as the recording session with Cray was going on, I thought, Cray, Dag looks fairly unoccupied. And then literally as we were wrapping up and he could be invited in by his own criteria of not wanting to interrupt anything, suddenly there was like 5 people in the chat and he's going away. So I got nothing. I don't know how to get him in there. His stream goes live around 7 my time, 10 his time, I want to say, and often wraps up well after midnight on my time, so 3 in the morning his time. So I don't know how he'll ever be available to come in and chat. I'd love to have him in here and just talk about some stuff. Have him on the site and talk. I think there'd be something fun to do in a like, how is Destiny going? Because I happened to stumble across first there was like a very highly rated post on Reddit saying that the Trials, a PvP mode in Destiny, was really suffering on population. And I thought, oh well, if Trials is suffering, how's the rest of the game doing? It seems unlikely that the rest of the game would be doing well when Trials is the only part of it suffering. But let me go look, and there's some difficulty in looking this up because fair enough, fair play to Bungie, they don't post a thing that says how many people are playing. And I seem to remember this from back in the day when I would look up. This is supposed to be a long hold now, so I'm gonna try that. Doing it on my own. It's hard to look up the population. There's one thing where they ping the API and see if somebody had done a PvE, player versus environment, activity, and then whether they've done a PvP activity. And honestly, that's, if you feel like you want to nitpick it because, well, did they do one activity? Did they do one, whatever? It eliminates people that log in and don't do anything or just sit in orbit, which is a thing you can do idly in Destiny. So it eliminates that aspect. It creates some problem. The other thing is that it creates like a double count if someone does both. I feel like that could be accommodated for if the data when scraped says Griffin Mills did this, Griffin Mills did that, and if they end up on one chart and another, then eliminate them from being counted as an overall. You think it would be addressable? People act like it's impossible. Those tests are an interesting test because it just looks at the API and says this is what people who have linked their account to Bungie, also to be fair, to the Bungie.net thing. So it's not people who have logged in and haven't linked in. It was common in the early days of Destiny to run into someone that hadn't linked their account to the API. It was a lot less common towards the end. When you're looking for an accurate, like, who's linked their account, or an accurate, like, how many people are playing thing. By the way, much heavier weight today. When you want the accuracy, sure would like to know how many people have linked their accounts, and then you can kind of adjust from there. You could bump the numbers artificially, or just say, well, it's off by this much. And we don't have that. So anyway, it's everybody who's linked their account, everybody who played an activity. The other option was, the nice thing about the thing if they link their account or not is they show up regardless of platform. So PS4, Xbox, PC, Stadia, it doesn't matter. Steam, I suppose, over PC. I don't know what you want to call it now. So that's cool. That eliminates that thing. If you look at the Steam page, the game it goes month to month. So before the most recent blinding light or whatever it's called, 4, 5. This is a lot harder with the weight. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Before the Beyond Light expansion, the game was down to 60,000-ish people a day on Steam. And then that doubled up to around 120,000 with Beyond Light. Like, interest boomed, and that went up, and then it went down a chunk. It went down 40%, and then like 30% more. But it's month to month, so by going down the amounts it did, it landed at around 55,000. And these are tough. These are way tougher with the weight. 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Anyway, the concurrents on Steam are now lower than they were the month before Beyond Light came out by a small amount, 60 to 55,000, something like that. 60,000 versus 55,000. It's now 55. And all those numbers are lower. Generally, the numbers just go down until they hit somewhere in the 60,000s, and then they plateau. They go up. They dip. They go up. They go up very little. They dip again. I don't want to overstate it. Okay, sit on a stool. So in this one, I'm going to be doing it off screen just to have the positioning correctly, but I'm going like this, and then I'm trying to curl, but I'm keeping my hand down. 10-second holds. You gotta set. Yeah, I feel like that's a mug's game to set 10-second counters, but I'm gonna do it. The game yo-yos. There was like a site I was looking at, because I was just looking for how can I get a really accurate assessment of how many people are playing Destiny right now. I want to say it's probably at the low end, it gets down to about the same low end. If less people are playing Trials, the low end now, I want to say over in 2 months since the launch of Beyond Light, they've managed to hit the low that normally takes them like 4-ish months, 3 months. It was a rapider decline, more rapid decline. And I'm going to assume, because I just want to, that this has something to do with removing content and not replacing it with enough to do. I saw Dag running around shooting a scout rifle that used to be kind of like my scout rifle. The scout rifle I pushed all the time when the scout rifles had their when they would show up in the artifact as like, these can penetrate shields or whatever you needed for champions. I'd be like, this scout rifle is pretty badass right now. It goes through shields and stuff. Because whenever an item gets blessed to be in the artifact, one of them is going to be able to like shoot through shields of champions, which also means it shoots through a bunch of other shields, which makes it a very interesting gun when it has that feature going on. But yeah, I can't imagine removing things. I saw that like raid participation was up to around 12% on one page, as trustworthy as that page might be. It's just participation. I have no idea. The remaining raids have to be like Last Wish, Garden of Salvation, not Leviathan, none of those Leviathan things, not Scourge of the Past, shout outs. Oh my gosh. So just rough. It doesn't look like there's a ton of people playing. I don't know why Dag's thing sometimes says he's playing some other like game that just didn't make sense. Okay, I'm going to be doing a new one here where I'm trying to supinate and I'm resisting it. Yeah, the confusion before was in the video, in the screenshot here. He's holding the arm's up and down, and you try to rotate it. And she was like, well, you can hold your hand like this. You don't have to hold it like this. And I was like, oh, I have to hold it like this. I over-focused on that. I don't know if the new activities they added are interesting at all. I don't know if month-to-month seasonal content drive is like retaining people. I think we saw like a pretty good influx back in because let's not confuse Beyond Light with a seasonal bump. Beyond Light is pushed as this like huge sea change that's going to really like get everybody's juices again, and we're going to take all your guns away and you're going to be able to grind for new guns. And we're like, oh, that sounds great, said like the hardcore fans. Most of the grousing I saw on the Reddit now was people saying like, yeah, all those hardcore fans kind of fucked the rest of us. And I was a hardcore fan that was against it. There's no way you could say I wasn't hardcore. But I also just saw that it just wasn't going to be any good. You'd almost say I was libertarian in my take. Like the game had established a environment and you just live or die by it. I guess they were like, well, we don't have to live or die by it. We can try and establish a new environment and get the game a whole new. But it just wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't whole new. It was just gonna be the same engine. It was just gonna be less guns. It was gonna be whole new by like cutting the arm off someone, being like, look how different it is. We gave them cut their fucking arm off, and now they can go find like a cool arm. Oh, but what's that? There's no arms of this type. There's no left arms anymore in the game. Well, that's crazy. Hopefully you didn't have your favorite arm cut off in that it was your left arm, because I'm getting all confused. You have to be a Destiny fan to understand that entire swaths of gun types haven't been re-implemented into the game after being taken out. I don't even know where it's landed at this point. I saw him running around with a scout rifle and a machine gun, and that seemed crazy to me. Because when I left the game, it was nothing like that. But we also play differently, so it doesn't mean as much as it might. It would be nice to have him on here and try to politely inquire, like, how's the game doing now, and why are you still into it? Can't quite remember the name. There's a game that he gets his go live, says it's Destiny, but then in the text it says he's playing something else. So that game, and then when we looked up what that game was, it was like, he's playing this. It was like a car racing game or something. We're like, what? All right, last exercise coming up, and we're gonna write this up. I talked to Andy for a decent chunk today by text. We have tentative plans for something tomorrow night. That would be PSN focused, so it would probably be new content like Gen Zero if we get to do it. Otherwise, we have weekend plans to try and start up it'll be starting up just to finish pretty much the Doom TNT stuff. That would be fun. I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. By then, he will definitely have beaten any sickness he would have had. He never got his call back, which means he was clean. He may eventually get the call back that says, yeah, you're clean. That would be great too. Haven't chatted up Cray too much, other than he sees things and he sends them to me. I really liked, he showed me like a Macklemore song from like 12 or 13 years ago. It's great to just be old and be like, well, this song was kind of great. And then he shared a like parody of it, and the parody was really funny. And I think I've said this before on a stream, but I really like that. And so it's possible. I'm thinking about recording reactions to those, and he ends up watching most of these, and I really appreciate that he watches them. Hey, I waved off camera. I would spoil it a bit to say, like, I would record the videos as reaction videos without him knowing, and then as long as anything wasn't said, because we get pretty shop talky in there. So I'm not really against any dirty stuff, but people get jokey and they say stuff that they don't really mean. This is a problem, right? This is a problem in society right now. Look up what San Francisco is doing with 44 schools out of 120's names and why they did it. And when you look it up, don't just go, well, that sounds stupid. Like, read their criteria and how they decided what they did, and think about how that part was poor, before you get like politicized on it or anything. Just, we need to like start looking at the facts, and we don't need to take those facts and shove them in people's faces. It doesn't need to go. We need to react when people feel bad. You need to go, I'm sorry you feel bad. Let's look into it. And we need to look into those things and do what we can to make them not feel bad, and to make sure that when they feel like, I got punched in the face, and we go look in the video and they didn't get punched in the face, and you go, okay, let's address why you felt like you got punched in the face, and why that guy shouldn't threaten to punch you in the face either. The analogy gets too fucking complicated. But let's wrap this up before it gets too long. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Maybe we'll have Andy on tomorrow.